I, Pragya Shravan, welcome you all on behalf of entire CIMB family to the National Pollution Control Day celebration event. The event has been organized by Startup Incubation Center, CIMB Business Incubation and Innovation Foundation under the aegis of CIMB. This session is part of Quarter 2 Institutions Innovation Council activities guided by Ministry of Education, Innovation Cell. I would like to call a very warm welcome to our honorable guest come speaker, Professor Shivanand Senapati ji. National Pollution Day is observed around the globe on 2nd December. The world today doesn't need many reminders to realize the consequences of climate change. However, it's important to note that each individual has a huge role in this fight against pollution. A clean environment cannot be achieved with efforts of a selected few. Small acts such as planting saplings, dumping garbage at the right place, recycling plastic items, etc. are the first step to turn our planet into a sustainable place to live. I would like to request Professor Shivanand Senapati ji to share his views on National Pollution Control Day.
Thank you. So, good afternoon. So, today is good afternoon. Today is National Pollution Control Day. Basically, as she said, is Pollution Control Day or Pollution Prevention Day. This is mainly to remember what has happened in 1984. Clear? Voice? Pollution Control Day. So this is basically to remember what has happened in 1984 in Bhopal gas tragedy. Bhopal gas tragedy, when other people lost their life. So due to some poison gas which emanated from a factory. So basically this National Pollution Control Day is observed mainly to increase awareness about climate change and pollution related things. So first of all, I thank CIMB BIF, Business Incubation Foundation of the CIMB for organizing this event. So the topic is pollution and climate change. but I am experiencing the area of climate change. So basically I have less experience in pollution, but I can talk more about climate change. So let's start from the climate change and we can include pollution within that. So see, when the pollution or climate change, very often you are hearing this term climate change. So maybe in news paper or any climate change you must be hearing. In silence you can hear something about climate change. So when you hear climate change, maybe first of all, global warming or maybe the ice age, this will come to mind.
Happy to hear all this, sir.
So when you hear climate change, so first thing must come to your mind, it is global warming or maybe ices. These two things must be coming to your mind. But if you see the ices, the IPCC, here it is mentioned IPCC. So IPCC means it is Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. So it's an organization where a group of scientists, the organization started in 1990. So whatever research is happening in climate change area, so these scientists, they study this article, they publish it. It's kind of an assessment report. So in 5-year period, they publish that report. So in that report, they discuss about the climate change happen, what can impact, or what can we do, or policy solution we can take. So IPCC first time they define climate change is in terms of temperature, precipitation, and wind. That means not only related to temperature, you can measure in terms of temperature as well as rainfall as well as wind. That means if there is a average change, or say 30 years they took for the policy, for 30 years there is an average change in the temperature, there is an average change in the wind, we call it climate change. But now if you see recently the published report of the ICC, they talk about some of the extreme weather events. That means there is no change for a long time, but suddenly some issue will happen, like maybe very high temperature, heat waves, or cold waves, high rainfall will happen. So these are called the extreme weather events. So these are also happening now, and the recent reports of the ICC are including that. But earlier this is the definition. So climate change is not only limited to global warming. So climate change can also be defined in the case of wind. So change in wind pattern. It can also be defined in terms of change in precipitation, that is rainfall. It can also be measured in terms of temperature. But a long-term change, at least 30 years if the change is happening, you see in the figure, some month it is high, some month it is low. But climate change you can consider for a long period of time, that is climate change. But if you see, it's not that only the man-made causes are there for the climate change. There are also some natural causes. Like if you see that it's change in the sun, change in the earth, yes? So change in the sun, change in earth orbit, change in the clouds, change in ice sheet, or say volcanic eruption. So these are some of the natural causes of the climate change. Like you must be hearing that many times somebody predicting maybe Earth is going to end in 2012, or maybe Earth is going to end in 2030. So why they are predicting? Because they are estimating maybe something is going to happen to the Earth orbit. So that's why maybe their model is now it is not happening, but it can happen. So when you're getting this noise, so they are getting this knowledge, that means it must be based on some kind of analysis that Earth orbit will change, or maybe there will be change in the sun position, or maybe they are going to be change in the ice sheet. So these are some of the natural reasons why climate change happens. Like if you do search in the Google why dinosaur extinct from the Earth, you can find maybe some natural causes happen. So you can find there are natural causes, small or but if you see the change in the greenhouse gases, so that is the man-made causes. So that is also impacting, that is also causing climate change. So which are the things that causes man-made changes? So if you think the greenhouse gas emission. So there are 3-4 gases like your carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, methane, ozone. So these are some of the human gases or say anthropogenic gases that mainly causes the greenhouse gas. So that means the Earth atmosphere, it absorbs certain atmosphere, so there is heat in the atmosphere. So that is also one of the cause of climate change. So it is not that only natural causes occurring or causing climate change. The greenhouse gases is anthropogenic activity also cause to climate change. But then, so if you see this figure, so there is a temperature rise and there is a CO2 emission. So if you see 1880, like 1800 or 1880, that is industrial period, like when the industrial revolution happened. So if you consider from 1880 to 1980, 100 years. If you see 100 years, the rise in CO2 emission is from 280 to 320. So if you see in the graph properly, from 1880 to say 1980, up to 100 years, the increase in CO2 emission is say from 280 parts per million to say 320 parts per million. That means in these 100 years, it increased say about 40 parts per million. But if you see from 1980 to 2020, that means in this 40 years, it increased from 320 to 420. That means in the last 40 years, the CO2 emission has about like 100 parts per million. So from this graph, you can imagine how much like the greenhouse gas or the anthropogenic activities is causing to increase in the temperature. So the average temperature of the earth is now almost increased by 2 degrees Celsius. So in this all the years, if you take average increase in the temperature, that is like up to say 2 degrees has increased. So now all the leaders in the world, they are like, if you heard about this conference of the party which has happened recently in Egypt. So they are sitting together, they are discussing how we can maintain this CO2 emission. Wait करेंगे बाहर कोई और So if you see all the policy makers, they are sitting and they want to maintain this GHG emission say up to say 320 or say up to 1990 level. So that means they are just discussing how we can maintain this GHG emission or say we can maintain this CO2 emission up to 1990 level. So because if you see the way it is increasing and impacting the climate change. So again, if you go to this IPCC website or IPCC report, you can find there are 4 types of different world they have discussed. So one world or one economy is like based on the market oriented. It is based on the faster per capita income. So the population will be peak at 2050. There will be strong regional interaction, convergence, and there will be technology. So on the basis of technology, on the basis of population, on the basis of economy. So the IPCC or say scientists, they divide all the world into 4 say storylines. That means if you want to go by this storyline, or you want to go by this storyline, or you want to go by this storyline, or you want to go by this storyline. So here economic emphasis is more. Here if you see your regional emphasis is more. Here your environment emphasis is more. Here your global integration is more. So if all the world will be integrated, then there will be convergence, there will be services and information will be based on lower growth than A1, so population will be like same as A1. So here your population will be high by 2050. After that the population will decrease. So here if you see the technology, either you can adopt a kind of fossil intensive technology, or you can go by non-fossil energy resources, or you can go by balanced solution. So any kind of technology you can adopt, or if you see regional emphasis, here the world will be differentiated. That means there is no coordination between the country. Here regionally oriented, so country will develop their own technology. So here if you see the self-reliance, slowest and most fragmented development. So here implication of technology is less. Like if you take Bhutan as an example, so there is no much technological improvement in the country, or you can say it is kind of fragmented development. So country is out of what is happening in the other parts of the world. So that is called the regional emphasis. So any one emphasis, all the country can adopt. This is just a kind of storyline which is developed by the IPCC. Now if you come to how to deal with this climate change solution, and how scientists are discussing about this climate change solution. So here you can find the political and academic attention to climate change policy largely focus on reducing greenhouse gas emission or say like carbon pricing. So first is focuses on the carbon pricing, or it is called the mitigation approach. So here in between I mentioned United Nations Framework Convention on the Climate Change. It is called the UNFCCC, or it is a body of the UN. Like the example is I gave from Egypt recently. You are hearing
COP27. It is coming in the news. So UNFCCC is the main body which advise the country how you can do policy formulation to deal with the climate change. And UNFCCC every year they organize some meeting, and it's called a conference of the parties. So how many countries they are part of this UNFCCC, they sit together, they discuss something how we can deal with this climate change. So in the UNFCCC main focus is on the mitigation. Mitigation means how we can reduce this GHG emission. But as we saw from that graph, the discussion is happening from the last 2000, we can say last 20 years discussion is happening. But still there is no reduction in the GHG emission. It is increased, whether it is increased. So if you just take the example of Kyoto Protocol, which is signed in one of the conference of the parties held in Japan. So before 2000, the target was by 2012, some countries they will reduce their GHG emission. But it is not that the total GHG emission will be reduced. So they can provide certain technology to say developed countries, like the European countries, they can provide technology to India. So here the GHG emission will be reduced, but they will get the credit of that, they will sell the carbon credit in the carbon market. So that's how GHG will be maintained. So all these technology which are developed like carbon pricing, these are not very genuine. Means it is like maintaining the GHG level, but just transferring it. So they will give technology to developing country. Reduction will be GHG emission will be reduced here, but the credit will go to development. So this was the technology involved in the Kyoto Protocol. Even there are many countries who are not signed this Kyoto Protocol. They signed later, maybe 2005-06 they signed, and after 2012 there was no reduction in the GHG emission. So the Kyoto Protocol was not existing. Then in 2015 you see all the countries again sit together in Paris conference, and they discuss now there is no binding. So every country they can declare their determined contribution. It is called the national determined contribution. They can decide how much they want to reduce. Like India in the Paris conference, they just inform we are going to be going to reduce 40% of our energy. We are going to transfer it from non-renewable to renewable, which government is already achieved. So that's why now government is saying we have already achieved before 2030. So it's there in the next slide. So first understand what is mitigation approach, or just understand what is UNFCCC. So UNFCCC is the body which formulates policy on the climate change, and in the UNFCCC main approach is the mitigation approach. And mitigation approach is for the reduction of the GHG emission. So objective is to stabilize the GHG. Again, it is what is GHG reduction, but basically there is no reduction. It is to stabilize, and there is some category like what the industrialist country will do, what the developed country will do. Like if you take some country in Europe, they have GHG emission is like they have zero GHG emission. They have advanced technology, they don't emit anything. So these countries they took the target that they can increase their GHG emission. So they can increase, and other European country can decrease, so GHG emission will be maintained. That is also mentioned. So what is for the industrialist countries, how much is the target? For the developed country, how much is the target? These are mentioned in the Kyoto Protocol. Then there is also another approach which is called the adaptation approach, or adaptation to the impact of the climate change. So this is the approach mainly focused by this developing country, or say India. The conference of the parties COP, which is happened in New Delhi, maybe early 2000. So in that conference, all the developing countries they talk about more how we can adopt this climate change. Because GHG emission is not going to decrease. Even if it will decrease, but the impact is not going to reduce. Because once you emit GHG emission, it stays there for 100 years. So these developing countries are asking for adaptation fund. They are asking, now they have attached another term is called the loss and damage fund. So recently conference they are focusing on we are facing more loss and damage. So give us some funds so we can recover that, or we can increase our resilience. Like we can put if you have visited this Mumbai Marine Drive, so you see there are big concretes are there. So you see some people visit, some people enjoy any coastal area if you go. But these are basically called in terms of adaptation sea wall. So these are basically to reduce the sea level rise, or to reduce the impact of sea on the earth. So these concretes are included there. So that is called the ski wall. So it is not only in Mumbai, many of the coastal areas now we are putting. So where the fund is coming, this fund the developing countries are asking for the development. So give us fund, so we can use this fund for the sea wall, or maybe changing our agriculture pattern. So we can do some research, can develop some seed that will be climate tolerant. Like you know heard about Sri Vidit Chakli. So in the rice now we are adopting this technology. Even if there will be flood, so the rice will be down in the flood, but again it will get up when the flood will go. So this kind of technology are also used in the agriculture. But for we are asking from the developed country so that you can do more research and develop this kind of thing. So that is called the adaptation approach. Now coming to the pollution, so up to this it is about climate change, also UNFCCC, and about the mitigation approach. Now coming to the pollution, so majorly there are 5 kind of pollution, starting from the air pollution, water pollution, noise pollution, light pollution, and soil pollution. But I will focus on only the air pollution part. I will not go to other type of pollution. So if you see, yes, noise pollution is also. Yeah, noise pollution is included here. So noise pollution, water pollution, yes.
What is light pollution?
So light pollution, if you see there are radiation which comes from the light, that also affects your body, your skin.
Ultraviolet.
Yeah, ultraviolet light. So there are many lights are there which will also affect. So these are also increasing or affecting. Now coming to the air pollution. So air pollution are well identified and for all Indian cities. It results due to many vehicle exhaust. So main cause of the air pollution is the vehicle exhaust. Then heavy industry, including the power generation, small scale industry, including the big planes, maybe resuspended dust on the road. So if you see Patna, if you take the examples, all these are present in case of Patna, like open waste burning, combustion of the various fuel for the cooking, lighting and heating, in situ power generation. So these are the main causes of the air pollution. Or say additionally seasonal influence from the dust, storm, fire, open field fire during like Delhi, if you take the example. So when the farmers in the Punjab, they burn that rice or straw, then there is a pollution in the area. So sea salt near the coastal area, this is also pollution on that. So Indian cities, a major part of this air pollution is sourced all year around from burning of the diesel, petrol, gas, coal, biomass and waste and resuspended dust. Time was 3 p.m. So anything which is missed here from the air pollution?
Yes, you said just
So air pollution ranks the second highest. So if you see the first time, so we consider about the malnutrition. So after malnutrition, air pollution is the second highest among the risk factor that causes diseases in India and accounting for 10% of the disease burden. Air pollution is also estimated to reduce the average life expectancy of a child born in India at least 1.5 years. So you can just imagine from this line, second line, the average life expectancy is going to decrease 1.5 years due to the air pollution. So we see in the US, like European country, people are living for a long time, but in India, life expectancy is like it is average. Because of 90 also, so that is due to air pollution and many other problems. So pollution from the vehicle and emission from the factories, coal-fired power station contributed to the air pollution across India. Emission from the coal power plants are one of the major causes of the air pollution. Expanding coal power will lead to 60% more premature death in metro cities. So now also it's not that dependence on coal is reducing. So more depending on the coal will increase air pollution and this will also affect kind of premature death. So 55% of India's coal generated electricity is within 500 kilometers of the mega cities. Like if you take example of Delhi, Chennai, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Kolkata. So very 500 distance you can find the coal field. So that is also affecting or making pollution to these cities. Then if you see I was talking about, so India recently they have focused more on renewable energies. So most of the power comes from the energy comes from the coal. So we see here 200,000 megawatts is from the coal. But India government also shifted to renewables. More than 150,000 megawatts now is from the renewables. Maybe mainly the solar and wind. So solar and wind are also contributing to the energy of the energy consumption of India, and we have achieved that 40% target. So by 2030 target was to achieve 40% of our renewable energy use. But before 2030, before 2021, we have achieved this. So there are some more commitments which India is making to the world. Like if you see the first sentence is India will increase non-fossil energy capacity to 500 gigawatt by 2030. India will meet 50% of its energy requirement from renewable energy. So it was 40% target earlier, and now it is revised that we can achieve by 50% 2030. So that's why you can see there is a big push to this electric vehicle, also hydrogen and the other things. So all these are linked to this commitment. So India made commitment. This commitment are made in Glasgow, like last conference. Recently in Egypt, but before Egypt we were in the Glasgow conference. So India will reduce the total projected carbon emission by 1 billion tons from now to 2030. So carbon emission will also reduce. Then there will be, by 2070, India will achieve the target of net zero. So this is the kind of big target which India has made. By 2070 it is net zero. So what is net zero also mentioned here. So net zero is refers to balance where emission of the greenhouse gas are offset by the absorption of any equivalent amount of the atmosphere. Experts see net zero targets as a critical measure to successfully tackle climate change and its devastating consequences. So net zero means it is a balance where emission of the greenhouse gas are offset by absorption or an equivalent amount from the atmosphere. So it is calculated that if by 2070 we can achieve our, like more focus will be on renewable energy, then the gases which are there in our atmosphere, that we can make it zero by some year. So in 2070 we can achieve that net zero, then our GH emission can be slowly reduced. Like if you see the pollution which will be population will take focus now. So initially when you focus more on the economic growth, your population will increase. But once the country will become very rich, then automatically your population will also start increasing, your pollution will also start increasing. Because you will achieve efficiency in everything. So that we have not achieved. So if you take more developed country, in the beginning of the 1900, say 20th century, when the industrial revolution started, so these countries focus more on the industry, mass production happened. But after if you take current situation, so their population also decreasing, their consumption pattern also decreasing. But if you talk about India as a country, now we are focusing more on, say, more consumption pattern. But if our population will reach highest by 2050, or if our economy efficiency will achieve by 2050, so after that our GH emission or population growth rate is also going to down. But if you see here China, so Beijing announced no new place. On Monday it previously placed net zero by 2060. So China, this is in the Glasgow conference, so China is not making any kind of commitment to reduce GH emission. But Indian government now is pushing at a very big way that we can reduce our GH emissions through our technology, through our consumption pattern. But like United States, if you take the example, the US doubted the domestic legislation to spend $555 billion to boost renewable power and electric vehicle. It estimates net zero by 2050. India, the country's economy will become carbon neutral by year 2070. So these are some of the commitments which India is making to the world in case of the climate change. Now coming to the carbon emission figure. So if you see, India is in the number 3 here. So the highest is from the China, second highest is from the US, from the China, India is the third highest in terms of the CO2 emission. But if you just divide by the population, so our GH emission, per capita emission is very low. So India always argue our per capita emission is low because we have huge population. So we have to develop certain industry, we have to develop our infrastructure. So when you develop infrastructure, maybe your bridge, your road, so your pollution is going to happen or vehicle, number of vehicles going to increase. So that will increase the CO2, but per capita CO2 emission in India is lower compared to other countries. Like, if you take US as an example, so US, you see here 1 to 86 that million tons is emission from the US. The population of the US is taken consideration. Then per capita emission from the US is very higher than per capita emission from India. See, US is a very highly developed country. They have the technology. But still, if you see the figure here, 1,286 million tons. And if you divide by the population, which is very lower than the India, so the per capita emission from the US is very higher compared to per capita emission in the India. So that is the point of the argument which he said India government or our politicians are against the development. So your per capita emission is very high. First you start reducing. Then you can bind, you can put some regulation on this one. So these are some points which basically discuss in international forums. One is differentiation. Differentiation means it is not that every country is same in terms of making the target. So developed country has different issues, developing country has a different issue, like India, I gave the example. Our population is huge. So we cannot take any binding that we have to reduce GHG emission by 2030 or 2070. So there should be some kind of differentiation. Some country can take more responsibility. Developed country can take less responsibility because we have high population, we have to deal with say poverty, we have to deal with other issues. And second one is long-term goal. It's not that we can use like 2012 we decide our exporting condition. Can you discuss some? Only you first check here, then you if you inform physically, if you don't want to listen, then inform physically, don't speak to the report is but you are not listening. Okay, listen, then I can discuss something. Or if you don't want to listen, please leave by open door. Please leave. If it is boring, then please leave. So these are the main points which are discussed in conference of the parties. Say we take the Paris example, we take the Glasgow example, and recently ZIP example. So any kind of conference of the parties, these are the head points. Like differentiation will be one discussion point. Long-term goal will be one discussion point. Mitigation will be one discussion point. Carbon markets will be one discussion point. Transparency and support will be one discussion point. So carbon market, as I discussed, it was there earlier. Like when the developed country were giving technology to the developing country. So the Italy or say London or say France, Germany, they can give certain technology to India. So GHG emission will be reduced in India. But how much GHG emission will be reduced here? The company which is providing the technology, they can claim credit of this CO2 in a market in Europe. Like we have reduced say 1 million ton of the GHG in India. So the value of this GHG will be share in the market. The carbon market was there earlier, but after 2000, and now there is no target on the GHG emission. Now it is the voluntary contribution. So now the carbon value is zero because now there is no binding. So you can develop your own technology. But earlier it was there carbon market. It's a kind of economic tool. It's not reducing the GHG emission. It can maintain GHG emission, but some money can be generated from the GHG emission. So that is one point, discussion point. All the policy makers are discussing, can we again establish carbon market or how can we value that carbon. Then the transparency and support, if you see the examples here, what China is doing, what is the technology they have developed, what US is doing, what technology they have developed. So they need to provide this technology to India. You see the India, we have population, we have the market. So all these products of this country are sold in India. So it's not that whatever issue is happening in India is only because of we have to contribute to that. Maybe the whole world has to pay for that. So that is the transparency and that is the support we need to get. Like if you close our economy, if you start producing within our country, then other country cannot sell their product in our country. So it will be lost to their economy, their market. Since they are selling their product in our economy, so they have to provide us the technology, they have to provide us the fund. That is considered under this transparency and the support. Then the point is finance. So as I said, in case of adaptation, in case of loss and damage, so we are facing more loss and damage. We need more adaptation. So for that, there should be some kind of fund in the international perspective. So earlier there are certain adaptation fund. Now there is discussion about the loss and damage fund. Then there is adaptation and loss and damage as I discussed. So recently I published an article in the loss and damage. It is there in the library. If you are interested in that, you can read that. So in here you will learn how the loss and damage is happening, how to measure that loss and damage. So basically a disaster loss and damage. So that is the last point. So due to the disaster, how the loss and damage is happening, how we can measure that loss and damage. If you can measure, then you can claim to the international body like this is the loss and damage happening and we need the fund. Then coming to the last slide on life. So this is how the recent point, recently in the conference, the India government they are focusing on the life mission. So earlier there are certain missions like National Health Mission was there, where the government planned to provide certain kind of awareness, so that like before the heat there will be awareness. It is kind of early warning system and health surveillance to prevent or mitigate extreme heat. These are there in the paper, but how much it is happening in the local way, it's you to know that. Because I am from Odisha, I know that from 2005, before 2005, every year like April and May, in the high temperature, so some kind of warning and message will come to the public. So Bihar government also there are certain newspapers, certain APs also there. So if you follow that app, maybe the thunderstorm, so heat warning. So heat warning also issued in certain district in the Bihar. If you take the example of maybe northern district, so Gaya or say Aurangabad district, so heat wave is also issued. So you can get early warning system of that. The second point is the country produced over 25,940 tons of the plastic. So in August 2021, the Environment Ministry made certain ban on the plastic, but what is happening to that? Whether really plastic is banned or not, that is also a question. So first two were earlier mission, but the current mission is life. So you need to understand what it is life. We are going to have this term in again and again. So life is like, it is lifestyle for the environment. So this mission is launched recently by the Government of India. So this is under the life mission, it is expected to be India's global mass movement that will launch individual and collective action to protect and preserve the environment mission. Life makes the fight against climate change democratic, in which everyone can contribute within their capacity. They inspire us to do all that can be done in our everyday life to protect the environment. It believes that the environment can be protected by making changes in our lifestyle. So here if you see the closing the switch slide, then here like using maybe waste properly, making this disposal, then you are kind of using more, reducing your vehicle consumption. So these are included in the life mission. It is a kind of democratic mission where more knowledge of the environment will be shared among say the public. So that is the Government of India is making now. So it is knowledge. So what knowledge is included here? So you need to understand what is knowledge here. So if you see, take the example of the plastic ban which Government of India earlier introduced. But in case of plastic ban, it is like Government of India forcefully doing. Plastic will be the ban. If you not use plastic, then there will be some kind of fine. But in the knowledge word which is included in the life mission, that is some kind of making behavioral changes. So you have to understand what is your role to contribute towards the reduction of the pollution, towards reduction of the climate change. So that is why this awareness program. So you have to understand your contribution, and that concept is known as the nudging. So that is India made this particular life mission. India is recently in the Institute Conference India made to the world. So earlier that, like I discussed India's commitment to reduction of the CO2. So India made 50% will be reduced by 2030. By 70 it will be net zero. By 2030, so 50% of our energy will be from the renewable energy. But we already achieved 40%, which was targeted earlier by 2030. So that is that contribution we have made earlier in say Paris conference. Then they revised in the Glasgow conference. But this is contribution from the recent conference. You can see this is more kind of qualitative thing. But if this will happen, maybe it is a big way. The people behavior will change. So here kind of green lifestyle. So then the overall solution to the GHG emission is not. This is from my side. If you have any question on this or any query.
Thank you so much for enlightening us, sir. Now I would like to heartily welcome our Chief Administrative Officer, Shri Kumud Kumar ji. Now, may I request Shri Kumud Kumar ji to present memento to our honorable guest, Shri Shivanand Sir.